Well, hello there, fellow escapers. We're back with some Escape from Tarkov, and today we're finally talking about the wipe. Now, as you know, there's been a lot of speculation. Soon TM, it's planned, it's coming, all that sort of stuff. But now we actually have a date, and that's going to be actually my birthday. It's April the 19th, so next Thursday, it's going to be patch day. Hopefully, everything goes according to plan, and Thursday we'll have the big patch. A lot of things have been announced, a whole series of AKs and all that sort of good stuff, and we're still yet to see part 2 of the actual full patch notes, but we'll see something like that later down the line, I would imagine. But today what I want to talk about is the wipe, and more importantly, post-wipe checklist. That's basically what you need to do. Is you need a couple of tips if you're new, if you're an old player, what's some of the things that you need to be doing early on in the game in order for you to get a head start and get a jump on everybody else. And we'll start off with the first and most important thing is never go in empty. That's number one on your priority list. Never go in empty-handed. Always take in a pistol with you. No matter what edition of the game that you'll have, you'll still start with 100, 200,000 K or whatever, 300. If you have EOD, you'll probably get a lot more. So whatever you start with, you'll have enough money to go to Prapor and buy a shitload of TT pistols. Never go in empty-handed, because that will give you such a huge advantage in the early days of the wipe that you'll have the range, you'll have the bullets, you'll go through a Kolpak, you'll go through a Kiva. You can one-shot everybody with one single bullet. It's only going to cost you 7,000 something to buy a TT pistol. It's cheap, it's cheerful, and you can't go wrong with it. It's just that simple. So that is my number one top tip for the first day, first 2 days, 3 days or something like that, until you actually get to step number 2, which is level up your traders. Now, in order to level up some of the traders, you'll need to do a couple of things. You know, you need to get your Siluas for the medicine. You need to do the fort. You need to get the Kiva for skier and all that sort of stuff. We still have to see what and how the sort of missions are changed, if they changed any. But if it's sort of the way they were in the previous patches and everything sort of stays the same. I know they mentioned a couple of things. So let's just presume that most of the things will stay the same. You don't have to worry about going all out to get all the sort of keys and get all the sort of stuff early on, because you don't need to do all the missions. You only need to do a handful of quests, mission, tasks, whatever you want to call them. You only need to do a handful to get everybody to level 3. You'll get to level 4 later down the line. You still need to level up to like level 36, I think it is. It's 36, 35? To get your rapist up to level 4 so you can buy all the good stuff from it. But overall, you only need to get to level basically 2 and 3 with Prapor and Peacekeeper, and also Skier, so you can buy your Packers, you can buy your AKs, you can buy the bullets, you can basically buy sort of high-end gear, and that's going to be fairly easy for you to get to, because you only need to get to like level 15, 16, 18, 19, that sort of stuff, level 20. So that's going to be fairly easy for you to get that. So that would be my number 2 top tip, would be to do that. Number 3 is obviously think about your soft skills. You know, your soft skills are going to make a huge difference early on. If you can get somewhere a lot faster, if you can run somewhere a lot faster, you will get to that loot quicker than everybody else. In the beginning, everybody's going to be the same. Everybody's going to run the same. You'll not likely see a lot of people run in sort of high-end gear, because you're not going to have that many. So the priority is for you to go and gear up. You know, get to the good spots fast. Get to the factory key fast on customs. You know, there's 2 different locations where he spawns. Get to it on Shoreline. You know, you have the big sort of important rooms, the 301. I've gone through these in a video, so you can check that out. I'll link a playlist in the description where you can check out the best rooms on Shoreline. If Shoreline works as promised and it works really good, then Shoreline should be a priority, because that's where you'll make a ton of money earlier on in bitcoins, gold chains, that sort of stuff. It's going to be really easy for you to farm those things. So the few hours of your gameplay, whenever you get to it, if you get to the patch on day 1 and you start playing it straight away, then that's going to be key, those first few hours, because you'll know exactly where to go into Shoreline. You'll know where the good loot is. I mean, I've pulled on raids on Shoreline, I've pulled a couple of bitcoins. So I've got 2-3 bitcoins out of it, a couple of gold chains, 2 DVLs. I pulled out 2 M4s, and I came out with 2 M4s, 2 DVLs, and a VSS that you find in one of the rooms. So that video is going to be linked in the description, which are some of the best rooms that you can loot up, and that's what you basically need to do for step 3. Step number 4 is use your scav wisely. In the beginning, nobody's going to have the soft skills leveled up. Nobody's going to have a lot of armor. Nobody's going to have a lot of high-end gear. And they will have probably even less things that you will, because you'll see a lot of people running hatchet and just trying to loot up and get to the good spots. But you can be there and intercept with a weapon. I mean, you hopefully will not just get a TOS like we did in the last patch, because I must have gotten the TOS hundreds of times. But if you get a pistol, if you get a 226, if you get a 443, you get a shotgun, you get any kind of AK or a weapon or something, you will be slightly more geared than half the players in the server, because a lot of them will run with nothing and they'll try and just get to places to loot up. That's your cue to go in exactly where you need to go, wait for them, and you can get yourself a ton of dog tags. We'll have to wait and see if they've addressed the dog tags anymore. They did mention the dog tags are going to be specific sort of items to be used now versus trading something, so you will be able to sort of have dog tags to buy certain things. We don't know what exactly can you do with the dog tags yet, but the trend for the dog tags was to make them cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. So in the beginning, your dog tags are not going to be worth nothing, because everybody's sort of low levels up to level 10, but you'll still need to have a nice little stash of dog tags, and you could do that with a scav, just because you start with a weapon and it gives you a bit of an advantage, and then who knows what you'll be able to buy with those dog tags. I'm guessing maybe specific sort of bear clothing, or maybe specific sort of USEC clothing or stuff like that, but I know they did mention something like that you'll be able to buy specific things for bears and USECs. We just have to wait for the patch and see how that is. So that's going to be your step number 4. And finally, we're going to talk about the last step, which is getting your basic keys early on. Now, you don't need to have all the keys. I mean, currently as it is, I have 3 key bars full of keys, and I end up using basically one of them, because half of the rooms are not really that important. I mean, obviously there's loot in them, but I don't need to go there because most of them are just crap. They're going to have just like a boring AK or something in there, which is not really that much, but you want the rooms with the safes. You want the room with the good loot. You want the room with a chance of, say, a DVL spawn or an M4 spawn or something like that. You want the good rooms to go into, and those are the sort of keys that you need to prioritize early on. So you'd looking for the factory key, you'd be looking for the checkpoint key, you'd be looking for the mark room key, 310, 35, 306 on shoreline. These are shorelines. Those are sort of the big important keys that you need early on. I mean, you don't have to worry about the little keys that you need to do for your missions, because like I said earlier on, you don't need to do all of the missions. You basically need to do about sort of 3 missions each or 4 missions each for some of the traders in order for you to level him up just high enough so you can get him to level 3. Once you got him to level 3, then you can basically get most of the stuff that you want. You can buy an AK, you can get ammo, you can get a rubber stock, you can get sights, you can get suppressors, you can get all sorts of cool stuff at level 2 and level 3 for most of your traders, and that's pretty much you geared early on in the game. So as long as you do that, then you should be good to go. Now I look forward to reading some of your comments of some of the things that you do. What's your checklist to do as soon as the patch hits, as soon as the wipe hits? You know, you're going to be broke again, you're going to be poor. What's some of the things that you really need to do early on in order to get ahead of the game? For me, like I said, I've done something like that in the beginning, and right now as it sits, I have 34 million rubles in my inventory, $262,000 and 149,500 euros. I'm never going to use that kind of money, and there's no point hoarding that kind of money and that kind of loot. Never mind that I've got 7 different weapon cases filled with crap and item cases and things like that, because there's just no need for me to hoard that. Remember to have fun with your gear. Don't hoard it, because chances are it's going to get wiped again. You will be able to loot again. You'll go in, you'll find a couple of good matches, and you will be able to get your loot again. So just remember, have fun with it. Don't just go in and think, no, I need to get some loot. I mean, the best example is this guy in front of me. I have no idea why he's running out. He's got the bitcoins. I mean, I gave him, was it 3 bitcoins I gave him? So if he has any kind of beta container on him, let's assume that he doesn't have a gamma or epsilon or anything like that. So let's assume that he has a beta that you will be able to buy. Now that still has 4 cells. So 3 cells are filled with the bitcoins, and you've got a little crappy pistol in your hand. So there's no need for you to go out. I wouldn't have gone out with him. The only reason I'm sort of following him around just to see what he does. Maybe he heard a shot or something and he's going the same way, and we're just going to sort of back him up. But as it turns out, he's actually heading out to run out with the bitcoins, even though the bitcoins are safe. So that doesn't really make that much sense to me why you'd go out with something that's already safe in your gamma container or beta container or whatever he has. You'd still go in and maybe try and get a little bit more, but maybe that's just the fear of losing stuff. Or, I mean, it doesn't matter if you lose your life at the end of the day in the game. You come in to have some fun and enjoy it, but hey, maybe that's just me that enjoys the interaction a bit more than something else. I was going to give him all my gear. I'm thinking that he's still here just waiting to see what's going on, but I forgot they actually can extract on the other side of the door too. You don't have to actually take the corner, so looks like I'm going to keep in that gear. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video. If you have, give it a thumbs up, post a comment, and I'll see you in the next one.